Hate, the big H word. We've all experienced our fair share of it in our time, and we've probably also dished some of it out as well. But come on, some people just ask for it, from the person that cuts you off in traffic, to your friend that goes in for a handshake when you're clearly going in for a dab, to that one annoying guy on the internet. Oh. So yeah, hate is a pretty human emotion. And seeing as how Jiu-Jitsu is a human activity, it does make sense that there's a little bit of hate circulating around in the Jiu-Jitsu community. So in this video, we're going to be going over the most hated grapplers in Jiu-Jitsu history. So sit down, maybe grab a popcorn, perhaps pour yourself a glass of haterade, and let's get into the video. Now before we get into the video, I feel like it's important to mention that these are not people that I personally hate. Simply, I've noticed that they've received a little bit of hate from different aspects of the Jiu-Jitsu community for reasons that we will get into in the video. And also, while I like making these educational and hopefully entertaining videos for you guys, they do take me a while to make, so if at any point you guys are getting some enjoyment out of the video, please just hit that like button. I would really appreciate it. Now let's get into the video. Number 7, Nikki Rodriguez, a former NCAA wrestler. He would first burst onto the Jiu-Jitsu scene by defeating Hulk of a Man in Cyborg in a very close match that he won by referee's decision. And I actually get why people hate on him so much. He is, after all, from New Jersey.
Jersey swag and a Jersey body, so I'm out here to sell it, man.
All jokes aside though, the source of hate seems to come from two different places. First of all, a lot of people say he's cocky and acts more like an entitled celebrity than a martial artist. And secondly, he's also been called a cheater, as a lot of people seem to think that he's been taking steroids. And addressing these points, yeah, he does act a little cocky, but honestly, put yourself in his situation, and just think about if you would act any differently. And secondly, Mans does train 7 days a week, 2 times a day, so yeah, he's probably taking a little something extra. And I get it, you show up to class trying to have some fun, chill with your homies, get a few rounds in, until you have to roll with Alistair, I only eat horse meat Overeem. And all that Jamba Juice that he's on is definitely helping him kick your ass a little better. But something you have to understand is that everybody at a high level in competitive jiu-jitsu is on something, which means you're probably going to have to take a little something extra just to level the playing field. Number 6, Husamur Paul Harris, an OG footlocker. He's been around the scene for a minute. Competed at ADCC versus Andre Galvao, and more recently at Polaris versus Gary Tonin. The reason people hate on him is pretty straightforward, and it shockingly has nothing to do with steroids. It's because he literally tries to hurt and injure people even after they tap. He's been known for cranking on heel hooks after the tap in jiu-jitsu competitions. And back in 2015, in his fight against Jake Shields at WSOF, he repeatedly eye-gouged Jake Shields. And after a 3rd round Kimura attack that Shields tapped to, he kept cranking on it, despite the referee trying to stop him. And in this case, I kind of think the hate is justified. You shouldn't be trying to hurt and injure the people that you're training with. That's just messed up, bro. Number 5, Henner Gracie. The hate here seems to come from a couple different places. Some people claim Henner's kind of a douche in person. Understandable. After all, what kind of a person likes douches? Yeah, girls. Good on you, Henner. And he's also known for aggressively promoting Gracie Academy, and above all, the Gracie lifestyle as a brand, which has given us awesome parodies like this one right here.
Henner, you taught me how to pee, but what should I do if I want to eliminate solid waste from my digestive tract? Guys, the Henner Gracie squat and push.
But by far the biggest item on the Henner Hateability Index is this episode of Gracie Breakdown, where he spends over half an hour trying to convince you that Royler won his match with Eddie Bravo, even though we all know that Royler took an L. Number 4, Eddie Bravo. There may not be another individual in Jiu-Jitsu that is more polarizing than Eddie Bravo. After his 2003 submission over Royler Gracie, he went on to start a brand of Jiu-Jitsu, 10th Planet, strictly no-gi, that has now become one of the biggest brands in Jiu-Jitsu. And seeing as how he's become a true icon of the sport, it's inevitable that he's accumulated a good amount of haters as well as supporters. Some people claim that training strictly no-gi will stunt your growth as a grappler, which is obviously not true. It has more to do with the way that you train than whether you're training gi or no-gi. I mean, just look at guys like Gordon Ryan. While others claim that the moves he teaches are very low percentage, would never work in a real match, but whatever your stance is on this, you cannot deny the impact that he has made on Jiu-Jitsu and in popularizing it as a spectator sport. Number 3, Gordon Ryan. Ryan would make a name for himself at the Anna Invitational by clowning on fellow competitor James Patridge, literally letting him mount him before he finished him with a heel hook, and will go on to win tens of thousands of dollars at several EBI performances. But his first breakout performance would be against Keenan Cornelius in a no time limit submission only match, or he would finish with a heel hook at about the 90-minute mark. After this, he would go on to submit Keenan again at 80cc Finland, taking home gold in the 88kg men's division. And just last year, he would win double gold at 80cc Anaheim, putting him in the conversation as one of the greatest grapplers ever. So why do people hate on him? Well, for one, they say he's pretty cocky, but I mean, if you were one of the greatest grapplers in history at 24, how would you act? Also, they accuse him of being on steroids, but pretty much everybody that he's competed against in the last 2 years is definitely on a little something extra. And the final point is that his parents paid for him to do jiu-jitsu, so he didn't have to get a job or live at the gym or even in his car like a lot of other grapplers. And I mean, yeah, that's fair. Being naturally talented, training at the best school, and not having to worry about the daily expenses of life. And I suppose a natural response would be to be jealous and hate on him for that. Or, you know, maybe, just maybe, start crushing it in your own life. Get that job that you've always wanted, maybe move to the city you've always wanted, or perhaps do that big tournament that you've always wanted to do but you've always been putting off. Number 2, Dylan Dennis. In case you didn't know, Dylan Dennis is a black belt under Marcelo Garcia. He was actually one of Marcelo's top students, and a lot of people thought that he was going to make a name for himself in competitive jiu-jitsu under Marcelo Garcia. Enter Conor McGregor. After his submission loss to Gracie black belt Nate Diaz, he would recruit Dennis to his team to help him sharpen his jiu-jitsu. And it would be during this time that Dennis would take a page out of Conor's own playbook and start calling out everybody and their mom out over social media, even going as far as to call out John Jones. It was because of this change in personality that Garcia would end up kicking Dennis out of his school. And yeah, that's kind of why everybody hates on him. They see him as copying Conor and calling out people he has no business calling out on Twitter just to chase clout. And I can see why people hate on that, but at the same time, you have to admit, it kind of worked out for him. Number 1, you. It's true that the feelings of inadequacy is something that everybody goes through from time to time. And in jiu-jitsu, it's no different. Whether it's because you're a beginner and don't even know how to pass guard, or you're more advanced, you've been training for a minute, maybe you're having an off day, and one of the lower belts either sweeps or submits you. It's inevitable that if you're going to stick with jiu-jitsu for the years that it takes to get decent at it, you're going to have days where everything just feels harder for you. And it's important to remember in these situations that if you're consistently showing up to class and fixing the holes in your game, then inevitably you will get over those rough days and start to see the results that you want. So put your chin up, maybe take some pre-workout before class, and keep showing up and putting in the work. Congratulations, you've made it all the way to the end of the video. If you're still watching now, I'd say you probably like the video, so please just go ahead, take a second, and hit that like button. It would really help me out. And if you would like to see more videos just like this one where I both entertain and educate you guys about jiu-jitsu, then be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. I post a new video every single Friday that you don't want to miss. You've been awesome. I've been Jedi. Remember, stay hungry, stay blessed, above all, stay consistent. I will talk to you next week. Peace.
You better talk, I don't talk, I get it. Yeah, you know I'm about it, if it kill me, I'ma let it. Run into the bag like I'm so athletic. I've been up since 6, making hits like tennis. I've been on fire, I just need my credit. Wanna go